Today, I'm going to go deep diving into specialist recruitment. Now, before you switch off and think, oh, I know specialist recruitment, I actually don't think you do. I'm getting so many messages. If you're on my TikTok, we're doing a 90-day challenge at the moment to get 300K in billings. I'm just documenting every day. It's a bit tedious, a bit boring, but I just want you guys to see day in, day out, real time, what it takes to do 300. It's a struggle, I'm telling you that at the moment. But I'm getting a lot of interaction, a lot of people messaging me privately and saying, this is great, I love this, I'm on this journey with you, I've got the same sort of thing. And then I get a lot of like, but I need some help, I'm really struggling to get clients. That's the key one I'm hearing at the moment, like, oh, I just need to win more work or blah, blah, blah. Whenever I scratch and dig, to me, it's so obvious. Specialist recruitment solves a lot of that problem. When you're going to market and kind of crack new clients or get new pieces of work or whatever that might be, if your proposition is that, hey, I'm a recruiter, I'm really good at what I do, well, there's probably 1,000 people who are going to say the same thing. And if you're the buyer of talent services, so let's just flip this narrative for a moment. You're at a company, you're like, I need this skill set. And a recruiter comes to you and says, I can help. You're like, the number one thing they're looking for is this person actually understand what I need. Because that role to that company is just so niche and specialized. It doesn't matter what it is. To them, that role is super niche and super specialized. And if a specialist recruiter comes along and says, hey, I only recruit for that thing, they're probably going to gravitate to that recruiter. So if that's not you, then you need to stay on this line. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And I want you to look at this on a piece of paper and go, oh my God, I'm not deep enough. So I'll give you a great example, right? A guy came to me in Dubai, and if he's listening to this, g'day mate, and just said, look, I'm doing medical recruitment. And I was like, cool. And he said, yes, I'm specialized in medical. I said, that's not specialized. That's just a sector that you recruit in. He didn't understand how deep we really need to get going. And so if we want to work out where we're going to play, there's a whole bunch of things you can do, right? But let's just first split the candidates, like the technical side of what these people do, and the sort of companies that they can work for, okay? Let's put them into two distinct lanes. And let's just, at the moment, let's just talk candidates. So if you're in a market, I'm going to give you an example of engineering because I understand it. People will say, I hear it all the time, I specialize in engineering. Okay, what does that mean? What sort of engineering? Like, just engineering, like anything engineering. That's not specializing. That means, like, you could take a engineer and they could work on roads projects, buildings projects, renewables projects, gas pipeline projects. They're all different skill sets because they're different types of projects. So all of a sudden, just there, I'm going, you're not specialized enough. So what we want to try and do is we want to break this thing down so that you can literally point to the skill set, to the location, to the capability, and go, that's exactly what I recruit for. And what you'll actually find is that's a lot bigger than you think. Engineering is hundreds of thousands of people in this country. It really is, because a lot of bloody people. But if you break it down to a real subspecialist, there should only be about 300 people in your jurisdiction that can do that job. And that's not a lot, but it's potent, it's pointed, it's super, super tight, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start at engineering, right? We need to break that down further and go, okay, so what sort of engineering are we going to be looking at here? Civil engineering, structural engineering, electrical engineering, like what? Okay, so you want to kind of break that down into more of a specialization. Civil structural is not a sector. Civil is, and structural is. Like, we want to keep going down. So let's just say now we land on structural engineering. That's not deep enough. What we now want to go down to is, what are they doing it for? Are they doing it for buildings? Are they doing it for bridges? Are they doing it for rail? What are they doing it for? Like, where do you want to play? And a lot of the time that's dictated by what's happening in the market, where's the government spending their money and that sort of stuff. So let's just say we go engineering, structural engineering for buildings. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. Now let's go to the level, like are we doing juniors, seniors, principals? Maybe you'll do all three, but we want to pick one. Okay, so let's, for this argument's sake, senior structural engineers, okay, for buildings. Now we're going to start looking at location. Australia, no. New South Wales, no. Sydney, yes. Do you break Sydney down in further? CBD, northern suburbs, south? Probably not. It's probably not that big. So let's go senior structural engineer for buildings in Sydney. Okay? Is that deep enough? Maybe. I don't know. Do you know the market? Maybe buildings are broken up into size. Are they like two-story buildings? Are we doing residential buildings? Or we're doing like high rises. I'll probably say high rises. I'd probably say there's more money in that. So we're going to do. So this is how deep we go when we go to pick our specialization. Imagine now going to a client who has a senior structural engineering job for buildings in Sydney, and you're up against 5 other recruiters who say, hey, I specialize in engineering. I can help you with this. If you go to that client, you say, I don't specialize in engineering. I specialize in senior structural engineers for high-rise buildings in Sydney. That's all I do. Whoa, Jesus, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, so I know everyone in the market. I know who's who. I know what's moving and what's not moving. I can help you find this person. See how powerful that is as a pitch alone. Okay, so if you're struggling to find clients, right, specializing is hugely beneficial to you because you've got a real value proposition to bring to them. Okay, and then all of your marketing, all of your Facebook, all of your LinkedIn, all of your whatever you use for socials just is in and around that market, and it caters to that market. Your entire ad budget is to find these people. You will start being recognized as the person who does this stuff. You see what I'm saying? And this is a starting point. It might not be enough to feed your desk to the levels you want. So you go, that's one sort of specialization that I do. The next specialization might be related but not the same. Maybe it's structural engineering for bridges or whatever. So you can kind of move them around. So that's the candidate side, the technical side. Like, this is how deep we need to go when we talk specialist recruitment, okay? If you go down to the company side, we've got to work that out as well. So there's so many places people could work, and it's not easily transferable. So I would be looking at, like, who would employ this skill set, okay? So in engineering, you've got consultancies, engineering design houses. You've got construction companies for the build phase. You've got government. What else have you got here? You've got developers. So you've kind of got these 4 or 5 categories of, or education, you've got 4 or 5 categories of employers. And again, I think you want to park into one of those because it's not often you see these people move into sort of client base. So I would say on top of the specialization that you've picked, the senior structural engineers for buildings that are high rises in Sydney, within consultancies or within government or within whatever, okay? So if you can get to that level of granularity, is that a word? I like that word. If you can get to that level of granularity, you are going to be a specialist recruiter, okay? That's it. So now let's say you're looking at your market and going, okay, I'm deep. I've done that, Brett, and I've worked out the client base I want to work for. How do we test it? Okay, so that's the next question. Like, how do we actually test if this is where I want to be? So canvassing is the main way, looking at what job ads are up there. But what are we trying to look for when we're doing these activities? So, and again, this should take a matter of days, not months, not multiple months. I see people sitting and like a frog boiling, like the water's boiling, and they just don't realize that they're about to die because they've been doing the same thing 3 months in and out and have gotten nowhere. Give me a week, I'll know if this market is a market or not, okay? And so what am I looking for? Why am I so confident that after a week I know if there's a market or not? This is what we're looking for, okay? We're looking for, 1, a healthy talent pool. It might be all well and good to specialize and go deep, but if there's only 30 people that can do that, that's not a market you can operate in. There's not enough people, right? There's just not enough people. So I'm looking for a healthy talent pool, and you will only know what that looks like. But for me, I need to see a couple of hundred people at least in that talent pool because we're going so deep, because I can then copy and paste that to Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, whatever, and all of a sudden you got a talent pool of 1,000, right? But you want a talent pool that you're comfortable with. And I also don't want a talent pool that's too big because it also tells me there's too many people in the market. Okay, so I do like that 300 mark as a market. When I do a search, I'm like, cool, there's about 300 people here that I think can do this job. I think that's a really nice number. Because what's the attrition rate? 10% people move. Like 10% of people will move a year in a company. So you got to think, okay, 10% of your market. So that's 30 people. If you do 300 people as a talent pool, 10% of those move around. That's 30 people. That's actually more than enough for a desk if you moved all of them. You're not going to move them all, but you get my point. You can kind of use that 10% rule to work out, is this a market worth doing or not? And you can work that back based on the fee sizes and whatever. I'm also looking for the competition, right? Is this market saturated with recruiters? I've been looking at markets before, and a market that looks fantastic on paper. I'll give you a great example is IT, you can go, cool, cybersecurity, huge. Like, we hear it in the media. It's obviously a problem for the future. It's a growing sector. But you know what? Every other bloody man and his dog is in that sector recruiting already. So when you start looking at that and you see the competition to fight for positions to fill, I don't want much competition. Do you? No. I've done engineering before, and I've literally gone, there are 20 people competing for this location, for this skill set. Come on. I'd rather not compete. I'd rather be in a market with maybe 1, 2, 3 competitors max, and you kind of, because what ends up happening in those scenarios, you end up moving into your lane and you kind of carve out your clients and everyone kind of just jostles in. But when you got like big amounts of competition in a market, it makes me super nervous because now it's just a race against the clock. It's a real stressful way to be operating. Okay. I'm also looking for active needs. So are the clients advertising? Is there piles of work? Are there multiple clients looking for the same level, a senior structural engineer for high-rise buildings in Sydney? Have we got one role advertised across the entire market, or have we got 10, right? If there's 10 roles being advertised and there's like 2 recruiters, that tells me it's a really tough market to be recruiting in because it's hard to find talent, but that's what you want to be operating in, right? Those hard-to-find places. So you're never fighting for work, it's just fighting for talent. If you've only got minimal competition there, if you make this absolutely what you do, you will clean up. You will absolutely dominate. So I'm looking for that. Active needs. And then the last thing is I'm just looking for that willingness from companies to take my CVs, okay? They don't necessarily have to turn into interviews because we might not be quite getting the mark, but in that first week, I want to know I can pick up a call, pick up the phone, they will pick up my call, and they will say, yeah, look, I'd love to see that CV. If I can get that, if I can see that there's a good, healthy 200, 300, 400 people in terms of a talent pool in that area, if there's not a lot of recruiting competition and there's active needs, I think you're kind of hitting on something here. So use this checklist, work out, are you specialist enough? If not, go deeper. Now let's test on the client side. Are we going to go down the consultancies? Are we going to go down, the government side, whatever, like break the client base down as well. So only dealing in one candidate type for one client type, and then go and test it. Go and test the market and check off those things. Is there a healthy talent pool? What's the competition looking like? Are there active needs? And are they going to take my CVs? This is how we do it. And this is why I can churn through building out a new market in a week, because that's all I do. It's my quick checklist, and then boom. It either works and we stick there and we go a bit further, or it's just I've done 3 passes of the market. No one picks up their phone. No one wants to take a CV. I can't find CVs because they've already been spoken to by 4 other agencies. Whoa. Run the other way. That's my view, okay? Mate, like, share, subscribe. It helps us grow. As you know, we're supporting the RCSA for their Talent X, which is coming up in May. So go get your tickets because I think they're going really, really quick, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be there. It's an opportunity to come and say hi. I'm going to be podcasting live for 2 hours. Come and jump on. I'll ask you some questions. You can ask me whatever you want. Hopefully, we'll get up on stage as well. Follow us on TikTok, doing a 90-day challenge to get to 300K in billings. It is freaking tough, but watch me sweat in real time, okay? As always, have an amazing day and may all your deals come true.